Hey folks, Charles75N here, and in this episode we're going to go ahead and put the sanding sealer on the top and sides of the Charles Greene Motley Crue guitar. That way we can trim off that fabric, add on the back fabric, and then go ahead and put the sanding sealer on the back and trim the back fabric as well, so we can get ready to start moving this puppy into clear. We're going to go ahead and put on the first coats of sanding sealer here, so we can go ahead and stiffen up our fabric and kind of get it to make sure that we've locked it down and get it ready. You start to get it ready so it can receive its clear. The other thing that we're going to do is make sure that we get the sides here so that we'll be able to trim the bottom once we're done. So let's go ahead and get our sanding sealer here, load up here pretty good. Okay, a little too much there. And we're just going to go ahead and put on a good coat. So that we can get it all, well, start to get it ready for clear anyway. I'm not going to. All right, so we're putting this coat on really so that we can start to get ready for clear. But really here, I'm not going to be putting on all the sanding sealer. I'm really just going to be getting on a coat so that I can go ahead and trim the fabric from the back and sides here. So that we can go ahead and glue the back fabric on. And then we'll go ahead and prepare the whole guitar to receive its clear. And so we'll go ahead and we'll start doing that. And the trick here is you can see that I've got it pretty thick in some places here. But before I finish with this round, I'm going to make sure that all the excess is pulled away from that. All right, folks, so here we are back with our covered top and sides, and I think it came out really nice. And we're ready to go ahead and trim off the extra side fabric so that we can go ahead and apply the back. And so, but I think if you take a look, I think it worked out rather nicely. All right, so let's get this show on the road here. And we're just going to do the same thing we always do. And we're going to go ahead and cut our fabric, just following that body line. And we want to get a straight line. Just get a nice straight line. And of course, we'll sand off the side. We've got all this residue from, we have all the residue from the sanding sealer, and maybe even some glue. And what we want to do is make sure that we get a nice straight cut here. And then once we've done that, we'll go ahead and we'll sand everything smooth, get rid of the excess. We'll get rid of that excess sanding sealer and any of the excess fabric that might still be coming over the edge. And really just get it ready to receive that back fabric. And so you can see when you do this right, it really takes very little time. So follow the body line, get the cleanest cut you can. The excess glue and sanding sealer or fabric can be sanded away. And this is going to give you a really seamless edge. And so where those two fabrics meet together and you won't be able to tell the difference. Also, make sure that you don't cut your fingers off. This would be really bad at this point. Yep. Okay, and this should have peeled back more, so we didn't get the line I wanted to get here. So I think our solution here really is going to be in the sanding. All right, so that's that. We've got it. We've got it cut, and now we just need to sand it back all nice and smooth so it's ready for the back fabric. Here we have it. We have Charles Greene's guitar here. If you look on the screen behind me, it may not be coming out very well, but that is our back layout, and so that is so I can double check that as we go. All right, so first we're going to go ahead and we're going to put down the glue. All right, so first we're going to go ahead and we'll put down some glue. And, I've gone to using this rubber roller, which doesn't suck up any of the glue, and I'm really happy with that. And I can use a lot less glue that way. And so really kind of liking that. Put that there out the way. Of course you gotta. All right, so put that out the way, and now I've got glue all over my fingers, and I hid my little rag. Okay, put that there. So we can just roll that glue right out, and it rolls it out nice and smooth. It's an ink roller, and it really works really well for this. And if you go and you clean your ink roller as soon as you're done with your soap and water, then you don't have any buildup on it, and it is ready to go for your next use. And so I really like that as well. So the key here is to go ahead and spread this glue as smooth as possible. Make sure you've got complete coverage so that the fabric doesn't bubble or lift on you or anything doesn't begin to separate. We want to make sure that you've got really good adhesion here. Put our ruler aside here. And so Charles wants this upside down, so when he's on stage, whenever he's playing it anyway, he wants to show it off on the back, he can flip it up. And so we're just going to go ahead and kind of get it where I wanted it. Because what we're doing, here we go, that's pretty much how I wanted it. Laying this out carefully because this is what I'm really after. I want this, don't go away, just go away. Thinking maybe I'll stretch that from a bit to there. And this t-shirt fabric just really is fun to play with. It's a little harder to put down, but it stretches really nice. Just to come back here some more. There we go. There we go. All right. So we're going to let this glue sit. This is a little bit, I wanted to have more of this original back here. But I still think that's good. But, I think that's going to work. Because I like that. So what I want to do here is I want to cut away all this excess fabric so that I can ensure these edges are well glued so that there won't be any separation at the edges where the two fabrics meet. And this is also where I can get a much better seam. So you'll see me taking my time here and making sure that all these edges have really great adhesion because I don't want any lifting later on. And it's going to go ahead and help me to go ahead and get a really good clean cut later on. So as always, the devil's in the details. Take your time, get it done right the first time. Make sure you've got everything locked down. It makes a big difference later on. All right, so we're going to stop messing with it now. And we're going to let stuff cure. All right, so we're all ready to go. No, we're not. All right, so here we are with Charles Greene's guitar. We've got the back fabric glued on, and that is cured. And so now we're ready to go ahead and start spreading our sanding sealer on it. So, of course, you know, a fella ran out of supplies and thought he had rollers, but didn't. So we're going to put it on using a sponge. And we might even get something smoother that we can work with. And really, we just want to go ahead and get a coat on for now that is going to harden up all of our fabric so that we can trim our edges. So we want to make sure we get all of our fabric here on the edges really good, because that way we'll be able to go ahead and get it trimmed very, very accurately. If you don't get this fabric, if the fabric that you're going to cut off that you don't get it because you think, oh, that's going to be cut off, well, it makes it a lot harder when you try to go ahead and try to get a nice clean cut. And so, because the fabric will just kind of, you'll get the strands in it, and you won't get a nice clean, crisp cut. But by doing it this way, you will. So you want that fabric nice and hard when you're cutting it. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it alone. We're going to let it cure. And I'm really, you know, hopefully, I don't know, we might have to come back and do another coat or two. But I am so anxious to go ahead and just cut this fabric and to make sure that it, to make sure, I can't wait to cut this fabric because I think this guitar is going to be absolutely beautiful. And it's nothing I ever thought I would do. I mean, I never thought of doing a guitar with a t-shirt. And so I think that's really, really cool. So, yeah. All right. So there we have it. So sometimes a fella thinks he's really smart and he's got all his ducks in a row and he records everything just perfectly. Well, can't find the footage of the very end of this where I'm showing off the final, how the body looks finally before going into clear. A couple different things though. We did go ahead and add the all bad things must come to an end on the bottom. We did add some skull and crossbones on the very top, some things that we had rescued from the t-shirt fabric before bringing them over. Now, there is a little bit of blending work to do here before we go into clear, and we'll go ahead and do that and it's look great. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out at this point. So, as always, enjoy your guitar journey, and thank you for being part of mine.